There are over 100,000 local authority homes in Ireland. These are houses and flats owned by local councils and rented to those who qualify for social housing. Tenants pay a differential rent which is calculated as a percentage of their income. The construction of council housing began in the 1920s as a response to a crisis of overcrowding and dangerous living conditions in the tenements. By the 1950s, more than half of all houses built were local authority houses. One of these is Pearse House, which was built in the 1930s. Unfortunately, the maintenance of council housing has been cut back in recent years, and many tenants are living in dwellings riddled with damp, mould or drafts. In addition, the current housing crisis is causing serious overcrowding, with 3 generations often living under the same roof. I spoke to Ben Scanlon, who's a tenant in Pearse House, and Annette Mooney from People Before Profit. I'm here in the studio with Ben Scanlon and Annette Mooney. So, Ben, you're a resident in Pearse House. Can you tell me a little bit about the living conditions there?
Yeah, at the moment where we're living, 2-bedroom, the dampness and the mould is disgraceful. I have my daughter, my son and 2 grandchildren in 2 rooms, in 1 room, and then my wife and myself in the other room. And those 2 rooms are full of mould, full of dampness. And I think my grandchild, he's 9 months old. He seems to be constantly sick. And now I don't know whether that's affecting him from the mould, the dampness, or what, I don't know. But we've been onto the corporation numerous times. They said they keep telling us to come down, sort it out. They haven't been down since I've been down about 2 months ago. And they haven't come near us. So I mean, we're basically wasting our time going up to them because they're not doing that for us. And we're paying enough rent, they should be coming down to sort it out, and they're not. So I mean, what am I supposed to do? You know, keep going up to them. They keep saying to us, yet they send someone down. They don't bother coming down to us. So at the moment, we're still stuck in that situation where the mould is getting worse and worse every week, and yet it's not being sorted. So what do I do? What do we do? I don't know.
Yeah, and there is a motion going into Dublin City Council this coming Monday. Can you tell me a little bit about that motion and what is happening about this issue?
Yeah, there were 1,500 complaints to Dublin City Council last year. 97% were rejected. The reason for this was that after the crash, Dublin City Council rushed in a circular, the responsibility of tenants, stating that dampness was as a result of putting clothes on radiators. Now, do you think 1,500 people were putting their clothes on the radiators? The problem really lies with Dublin City Council, and their buildings are structurally damaged. So we're saying to the councillors that we want it to be acknowledged that dampness is not the cause of council tenants. Private tenants wouldn't be blamed for this. So we know that dampness is caused simply by structural damage, and other factors contribute to dampness. What we have seen is this aspect of snobbery and contempt by council officials to council tenants. Council tenants have no access to an environmental health officer, like private tenants do, and council tenants have no access to an independent complaint agency, like private tenants do. So we would urge people to support our protest, which will be outside Dublin City Hall on Monday at 5:30, where our motion by People Before Profit will be put forward for the withdrawal of that circular, and also to establish an independent complaint agency for council tenants.
And Ben, what do you think of that idea of a complaints agency for tenants, where tenants could contact an independent agency if they're having problems dealing with the...
Well, I agree with that. Yeah. I agree with every aspect of that. You know, we're wasting our time actually going up to the Corporation Council. We're wasting our time because, as I said, I've been up there numerous times. Nothing's being done. So what do you have to do to get something done? Yeah. Stop paying rent, you'll be thrown out. They'll evict you.
And I was up in your flat the other day, and I saw the damp in one of the rooms, and it is clear to me that this is not caused by hanging down clothes in a room or anything like that. This is clearly structural.
Structural. It has to be exterior, obviously, because we clean it down, try and clean the mould down, and as I said, it's very bad in the bedrooms, very bad in the 2 bedrooms, and we're getting it in the front room, but not as much. But still, it's there, and it's not going to go away unless something is done outside. That's my what do you call it? My solution, I suppose. You know, you know. So I don't know what else can be done, to be honest.
Yeah, and Annette, I think this is clearly structural, as you said, and I think there is possibly a problem here in terms of resources that are put in to council flats and to the maintenance of council properties. And we're also seeing at the moment that the council are clearly reluctant to build social housing, and I don't know, what do you think, if this is partly to do with not wanting to maintain these buildings, to try and basically get people to leave these places, and particularly in the city centre where you are in Pearse Street, that they want to keep the city centre free of social housing? Do you think that it could be anything related?
Well, I mean, all over the world, they have tried gentrification of these properties in the city centre, but what we're dealing with here are substandard living conditions, and we are calling on people to support that protest outside Dublin City Hall, where councillors will be voting on our motion, which states the withdrawal of that circular in 2009, which makes it the responsibility of tenants for dampness, and also to give them the independent complaint agency and access to an environmental health officer.
Because the council, of course, is a landlord and should have the same responsibilities as private landlords do in terms of the structural aspects of their buildings.
And council tenants have no access to anybody overseeing their landlord.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, both Ben and Annette, for coming and talking to me today. Thank you.